Files interviews segment of my streaming career, I guess, here. I am Manbearzak, your host for the conversation, and joining me today is probably one of my favorite people in the entire world, and just an all-around wonderful person, Miss Spelly Does Art. Hello, Spelly.
Hello.
Welcome to Pixel Profiles.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. When I first came up with the idea of doing interviews, your name was immediately at the top of the list, somebody I needed to
Oh,
sit down and talk to. We've known each other since 2016,
some
2015, 2016, somewhere around there.
somewhere in
Yeah,
there.
somewhere around there. Um, we even roomed with each other at TwitchCon in 2017.
I remember that.
That was such a good time. That was such a good
Oh,
time. But yeah, so for anybody that is new here, which is basically everybody because it's the second episode, what the Pixel Profiles is about is sitting down with content creators from all over the spectrum, whether that be Twitch, Kick, YouTube, Rumble. Even if you're not a streamer, if you happen to be a musician, if you happen to be a game developer, if you create something, you're creating something that's content, TikTok, YouTube, what have you. I want to sit down with you. I want to have a conversation with you. I want to bring that conversation to everybody else. So if that's something you'd be interested in, or if you know anybody that would be interested in sitting down and joining the conversation, definitely have them reach out to me, whether that be on Twitch, Twitter, Kick, or X, whatever, or Gmail, Manbearzak. I'm Manbearzak literally everywhere except Facebook because that guy won't give it to me. Um,
oh no.
yeah, no, it's like his name's Zach. I get it, but like it's the only place I don't have Manbearzak, and it bugs me. Um, but yeah, I want to sit down with him, have him reach out to me. I'd love to have the conversation. So, for those of you that don't know Spelly, Spelly is an artist, VTuber, as you can see with her beautiful VTuber avatar here. Is it an avatar or is it like a VTuber model?
I feel like you can say both. I feel like most people say model, especially when commissioning them, but I feel like I hear them both.
Gotcha. I mean, well, I guess like the actual structure would be the model, but like it's your avatar while you're streaming. So
Right.
yeah. Okay. Hey, whatever. But so first things first, I gotta ask, what got you like? I know like mostly you stream art. I know sometimes you stream video games here and there, but mostly you do art. Really, what got you started when it came to creating? Okay, let me rephrase. I want to kind of jump back a little bit. What would you say was your introduction to art, like in general?
Ooh, that goes back. It's hard to say. So I am one of those that watch a lot of anime, and I draw anime. Surprise, surprise.
What?
um, um, I don't. But what really got me into art? I don't know. I feel like if you're a creative, you get into not necessarily just art like drawing, but you get into any of the arts in general if if you kind of grow up that way
Mm-hmm.
with anime, whether it's let's see, people that watch anime, most likely if you're a creative, some people watch anime that, they're more on the other end rather than creative, they're more logic and stuff, but um if you're a creative, you probably either have tried or dabbled in drawing.
Mm-hmm.
You could do cosplay, you could do sculpting, even singing. A lot of people have become a lot of doing cover songs from anime and stuff. I don't know, there's just so much, and I'm one of them. I can't say I'm any different. I watched anime, I did anime. I have become anime.
What would you say it would was your like main influence in regard to anime? Were you more of like an Americanized like the more mainstream American anime fan, or were you uh being half Japanese, were you more accustomed to uh the anime from Japan? Like
Um,
more popular in Japan rather.
I'm definitely Americanized. I went through and I watched, Pokemon. I watched a lot of Ghibli too. Like, I don't know. I just basically that's what was on in Japan. That's what my parents put on in Japan when I was growing up. When I moved to America, they were just they just put on whatever cartoons. I watched things like Cartoon Network and stuff too, but I really did fall in love with like even the games too, like on Dreamcast. They
Oh
were
yeah,
Japanese games, so
yeah, very
and then,
true.
yeah. So, I watched a lot of, Ghibli with my dad. I remember watching stuff like that. I wanna say in general, it was mostly American, though, like Pokemon. I'm trying to think of everything that I watched. As a kid, it was so long ago. Basically, anything mainstream Naruto, event as I was slowly getting a little older, um, I watched Naruto, nothing too, out of the ordinary. Sailor Moon, Do-Re-Mi, like all of these. Tokyo Mew Mew, you know how it is.
That no, not that one. The Tokyo Mew Mew is the one. That's the one you named that I haven't heard of. Yep.
Really?
I know it's weird, right? Like you would think me of all people. Now, as some people might know, I am partially weebish. I have weebish tendencies, um, but I definitely more of a Americanized as well. Now, recently, I have started watching more subbed stuff, and it. I'm like, yeah, you can kind of get a little bit different emotional inflection in certain things, and like sometimes the subtitles say different things than the dubs do, so like you get a bit more precise lore and stuff like that. But like, yeah. Anywho.
Right. I got you. I watch both subbed and dubbed. I have no bias or anything.
Yeah. Now, how about when it comes to streaming? Because I know like your history when it comes to streaming. I know personally what your history is. Um, when you, but let's focus on the art aspect of it because that is what your main focus is right now. It's honestly what you're fantastic at. So
Thank
everybody definitely go check her out. Her socials have been popping up over there next to her little avatar on screen there. Um, but when you decided to kind of make art the main focus of your channel, really, what kind of brought that about? Because I know you were, kind of more gaming and like storytelling and stuff like that for a long time. What made you go strictly to saying, it's like, you know what? Art.
Well, yeah, I was a lot of things back in the day. I was
Mm-hmm.
full cam, mostly just gaming, but over the time, not just the whole VTuber thing, but art in general. I guess it's just eventually I started really enjoying doing art. I really enjoyed the atmosphere of art streams. I enjoyed, um drawing. It gave me a lot of time to draw because otherwise when I was off stream I wouldn't draw very much, and I really do like drawing. um I eventually started looking, like taking a step back, and I was like, so I'm doing pretty well on my gaming channel and not so well on my art channel. But honestly, outside of like those types of factors, I really like art and I like gaming, but when I have the chance to, when I feel like it, I mostly want to do art and stuff. And I was like, at the end of the day, it just if I really like doing art and if it's something that does make me happy to do, I decided to do that, regardless of all the other factors and stuff that was in that. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna spend the time to do art. And that's what I did.
Fair enough. Because I know, like, personally, when it comes to me, whenever I'm sitting around and I I play video games,
hmm
and it's like it. If I had the facilities to, I'd probably do more woodworking in my free time. But that not being an option right now, like, hey, this is my chill time. I kind of want to do something. May as well stream what I'm doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And then eventually down the road, it did become more of a job thing. So, and I actually am really happy to be able to stream more
Hmm.
because I'm also working. It's like a two birds, one stone situation.
Gotcha.
Mm.
Yeah, give me just 1 second. My timer for
Oopsie.
chat for some reason wasn't coming in, so I just wanted to type that in so people can actually see it real quick. Okay.
Yep.
So, this is something that, kind of tickled the back of my brain a little bit. But when it comes, like when you made the choice to move to art,
Mhm.
was that more of, did that scare you for like your channel, for the health of your channel?
I wasn't really thinking too much about it. And I guess the only way I could look at it about it is in hindsight.
Mm-hmm.
And in hindsight, um, I guess it wasn't the world's smartest move. It probably would have been if we're just talking analytically and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It probably would have been smarter to stay on the old channel and just migrate over to doing more art streams and then eventually just doing whatever I wanted to do, whether it's art or gaming. But that's in hindsight. At the time, I was just doing whatever I like whatever made me happy, and
Yeah.
that is that's what I did, and I didn't really care about views and numbers and stuff.
Yeah. And in the end, like whenever that's something that viewers resonate to, as well. Like people are gonna notice when you're like not having a good time,
Right.
and or if you're like forcing yourself to do something, you know, it, yeah. I personally, having watched your channel over the years, and having, in the non creepy way, watched you over the years, I think you made the right decision. Obviously, it's not my place to say one way or the other whether or not you made the right decision, but if anybody asks me if I think you should have stuck to gaming and just like did your art offline, I would have said absolutely not. I would say absolutely not. I think it was not only the best thing for your channel, but I think mentally, I think you're in probably one of the best places I've seen you in a while.
Aw, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Now that's that. Hey, probably
Hey.
not going to say that to a lot of my other interviewees. Okay, like Spelly and I have known each other for years. All right,
Yeah.
so I'm allowed to get a little sappy with my best friends. Okay, so shut up. Um,
Aw,
all right, so here's a little topic that I didn't bring up in our pre-stream discussion.
that's okay. I'm
Okay,
ready.
so AI art.
Uh-huh.
Okay, now there is I I've seen a lot of arguments one way or the other of whether or not it's, okay, fine, or if it's just like going to kill art in general. Um, it's I mentioned I kind of want to stay away from like super hot topics,
Right.
but as an artist, and somebody that's been in, doing what you do, been doing for a long time, and it's something that is in direct competition with what you could be doing with your future. I kind of wanted to get your opinion directly, as opposed to, hearing somebody say something somebody might have said on Twitter at some point eventually.
Mhm.
So
Just
how
like
how do you okay, I'll phrase it in more of a questionary stance.
you're
That was pretty vague. I'll give you that. When it comes to AI art, do you think that it is a viable um, medium and shouldn't get the hate that it gets, or do you think it is an overall negative when it comes to the world of art and creation in general?
Hmm, it's a sticky situation, if I'm being honest. Like, if I were to give you a very broad and general and TLDR of my view
Mm-hmm.
of it. I'm not a big fan of AI art. A lot of artists are, gee whiz, you know?
Yeah.
But that's like the very basic TLDR. That's not to say that's like all it is to it though. Um, I can definitely see why some people use it, and I am not going after anyone who does. Like, I get it. Um, there's honestly some things that I think some people may have or haven't thought about when it comes to AI art. So, for example, there are some people that are very creative. They just don't they physically or literally don't have the means to create certain things, and AI art just kind of fills that gap. Um but if you were to talk about it from more the dangerous aspect of it, which is businesses using it, that's where it gets like that's why I'm not very fond of AI art. It's because it's not AI art itself, it's just down to human greed, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
if there's any way to cut out any sort of money or any sort of, shortening numbers and stuff so that the net worth or the income is higher for a business or a company, of course they're going to do it. Like, no doubt, no doubts in my mind that most businesses would happily cut out the middleman if it meant saving a couple bucks.
I
That's
100% agree.
that's why I'm not fond of AI art. It has nothing to like there's some other smaller things like the whole, you know, stealing art and stuff. Um I'm sure I don't know. I don't know where AI art's going to go in the future, but I never really at first when it first came out, I didn't know what it was. I didn't really have a big issue with it. I still don't really have a big issue with again, with AI art in general. It's just the way people are going to use it. It's just at the end of the day, it's just humans. It's what they do.
Yeah. It's, and honestly, that's exactly what my sort of standpoint on it was as well. I don't really have a massive issue with if somebody, let's say somebody wants to, because my first introduction to actually using AI art, which I have used, I've never used it for like to sell anything or anything like that, but I wanted to
Right.
come up with a tattoo design. I wanted to, like, I couldn't put it on paper with what I wanted, so I was just like typing in every descriptor I could possibly think of, and it got something that I kind of sort of liked, but in the end ended up going to tattoo artist and kind of told him what I wanted. He came back like 30 minutes later with what I ended up getting. So,
Hey.
yeah, I can't bend my arm like
There
that.
we go.
Okay.
Hey, that's nice.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
you know, you can have, really cool looking AI art, but in the end it's not going to have the human touch. And that I think is what really divides or separates AI art from like actually talking to somebody and getting actual human designed art. You're not going to have that human element behind it.
Right.
Yeah.
I wish more consumers I don't know how much the consumers care about the human element, but the
Well,
more people that do, the more that hopefully businesses will see maybe we need that human touch.
yeah, and we see that a lot with companies nowadays. Just like it seems like they're actively trying to get rid of the human touch. It's like, well,
Yeah,
we're slaves to the algorithm. We have to like get the next click. It's like, yeah, it's like, no,
right.
you have to
I
be
get the
relatable.
grind. Yeah. Yeah. That's the big one.
Yeah.
Honestly, putting out a post that says something like, "Hey, we gotta get the next click," that might be more relatable than just throwing stuff into a thing.
Yeah. It's like, hey, I know this looks cheesy, but we're genuinely trying to get your attention with this. Like, oh, goodness gracious. So that was that's the most hot button question I'm going to ask you. Don't worry.
That's okay.
Okay.
I don't have have an issue
Yeah.
with talking about that.
There is something that I think is going to be relevant to a lot of potentially young streamers that are thinking, well, I kind of like doing art. Should I stream it? I don't know. There's a lot of gamers. What do you think about the potential viewership for art versus gaming? Do you think that it's a worthwhile correction? Let me back up. Again, none of these questions are scripted. They're just coming to my mind. It's a conversation. It's not really something that I want to like take the human element out of. Kind of, we brought it back. Okay. Okay. So, where do you think art sits in the world of streaming? In regard, like, obviously gaming is the most popular form of streaming right now. You know, chatting reaction streams are really big up there. Art streams, I think, I'm assuming would probably be something around number 3. Maybe talk shows number 4. Where do you think art and art streaming sits? How do you think it fits in the niche of streaming itself?
Do you want... So I'm assuming you want my honest answer here?
I want your honest answer.
All right. Well, for anyone looking to become an art streamer, I definitely would never... there's a big difference, I should say from the start. Big difference between a hobby streamer and like a full-time streamer, or at least someone looking to try to go full-time. If you're just a hobby streamer, honestly, do whatever you want. There's nothing wrong with art streaming. It can be viable to, it can become something from there. I would never deterrent anyone from trying something new, especially if it's for a hobby. Especially if you really like doing art, might as well, maybe you'll make some new friends. Actually, that's how I've made a lot of friends, is through streaming art. They either find my channel or I find theirs through raids and stuff. Yeah,
Yep.
you just, and then you find people you can work with art. You can learn from other people and stuff. Like, it's definitely something to look into if it's something that you want to try. But on the flip side, if you are looking to become more of a I can't even say full-time streamer. That is such a very, very small percentage of people do that. Just in general, if you're looking to be more serious about it and everything, I would definitely say streaming art, at least on twitch.com or twitch.com, twitch.tv.
You're mixing up Kick and Twitch there, Spelly.
Yeah, my bad. Well, I the only reason I can only speak for Twitch is because I haven't streamed on any other platforms with art. So
well, look
I
at
can
you
only
now.
say
With art. Okay. I was gonna say, look at you streaming on Kick right now. What's up, Kick? How you doing?
Yeah, I was gonna say I've streamed on a handful of platforms before Twitch and during my time. So, but yeah, art. I do have to say that it is hard. It is hard to do art. Art is very saturated, especially because art isn't broken into any other categories the way other things are. So gaming, you have every game that, eventually gets
Exists.
put on. Yeah. Yeah. It has a category for it. And then if it doesn't have a category for it, there's still several to choose from between games and demos or retro, depending on what you're doing. You can even just throw yourself into special events, depending on why you're playing the game or what, if it just released or something. And there's so many different categories, even just chatting. There is the just chatting stream, but then you can break that down. You can break that into, like, I can't even think off the top. Food.
Yep, food and
You break
drink.
it into crafting. You can break it into there's like a technology and science category and stuff.
Hot
Like, there's so many
tubs.
different things. Hot tubs, yeah. You can break it into. But with art, honestly, unless there's like, I guess if you go down the crafting, because I think craft and makers is a thing for, like, if you're making something like sewing and everything. But
Yep.
if you're just doing art on, like digital art, we'll just stick with digital. Even 3D art could have been split up, but it's not. They only have art. It is so saturated that if you become a streamer just doing art and that's all you did was streaming art and you started today, unless you had done prior networking, you're probably not going to go very far with just streaming art. That's just at the end of the day, that's just how it is. There's so many other factors you have to look into nowadays if you want to if you want to take it seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those big things is two things. First one's networking. It's golden true. It's there's a reason it works and it has worked. And the second one is, especially nowadays, I don't have a fancy word for it, but when you have to spread yourself out to different places now. You can't just be on one platform. Man Bear, for example. you,
What?
you have to spread yourself out now.
Yep.
For more reach, for more yada yada, you know. That's just how it is, especially if you want to go into art. Um that's so if I were to say, if you wanted to be a serious art streamer, honestly, probably look into trying YouTube first. Not even YouTube streaming, but just YouTube making videos so you can get used to being on a camera, and talking to yourself is another big one. And then you can start picking it up into streaming, whether that starts on YouTube or Twitch or whatever. If you're looking to be more serious, definitely hop on. I don't care if you like it or not. Not you, Man Bear, but in general. I know a lot of people don't like it. I know a lot of people don't like it, but yeah, I don't care if you like it. If you wanna branch yourself out, TikTok is definitely a place to go.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's currently one of the easier routes to at least generate a crowd. Whether you can translate that crowd into other platforms is a completely different story, but usually it goes from TikTok, and you might be able to bring people over to YouTube Shorts because it's short content.
Yep.
And then maybe they'll start expanding to your YouTube videos, and then they'll be like, "Oh, you stream." So, you know, it kind of clicks. Um but yeah, you definitely have to be on multiple platforms. You got to network as an artist streamer. And the other big thing I should mention is that a lot of the big artist streamers, they don't just do art. So if you thought you were just going to do art and be like super big, unless you get lucky, I can never take out the luck factor. That is something
Yep.
that everyone has the capability of.
Huge.
But yeah, you're gonna have to learn to do something else other than art too. Even if it's just chatting. Just chatting's still pretty big. So you could still get away with doing a bunch of just chatting streams, but you really got to learn how to just chat as well as a streamer, which then goes back to probably starting off on YouTube making videos so you can get used to talking to yourself and stuff.
Yeah. Getting used to talking to yourself is massive when it comes to streaming. If you don't have anybody in your chat and you're just sitting there like, yeah, that's not, yeah, exactly. Anybody coming by, if you're not saying something probably within the first 10, 15 seconds, they're probably going to click off.
Right.
Like it's as simple as that.
I will say, I have learned a difference between art and gaming though. Being that I did gaming for a while, you have to like talk at least every 3 to 5 seconds to be saying something. Art, it depends on how you want to do it.
That's true.
Even bigger people, because there are periods, and this is something that I've learned art audience has learned, is that there are periods of time where you can start getting focused and you start concentrating on what you're making or what you're doing. And as long as you're showing what you're doing, and you could potentially talk about it too, but as long as you're showing what you're doing, people will honestly sit there. Art gets a lot of lurking. It's like ASMR in that case. A lot of lurkers. People will just sit there and want to draw with you because it does help some people to have someone to draw with. Like it's a different community between gaming in that case as well. So you don't have to be as talkative when you're just doing art, but again, if you want to take it seriously, you got to do things that are more than just art. Which then comes back to, you're gonna have to learn how to keep talking and keep going.
Yep, and that's another thing. Like you don't have to game. Like if you were thinking like, oh, I have to do something other than I have to do something other than art, that means I have to play a game, or I have to. You don't have to. If you have another talent, let's say you like doing karaoke sometimes, you could sing on stream. You can, like I've seen a lot of people doing Wordle lately.
That's another good one.
You don't have to game. That's the beauty of streaming. It's like, when a game comes out, there's going to be more viewership. So, that could be something worth doing. But when it comes right down to it, gaming is more saturated than art is nowadays. You're going to have those niche games where people are going to want to find a streamer to watch. But, there's going to be people that's like, oh, this person's singing. Let me see what they're pretty good. Even if you're just messing around, if you're putting on a show, people are going to be gravitating to the show. Spoonerism, terrible singer, but his version of let me check and see how many views. I'm pulling up YouTube right now. Spoonerism Chandelier. His version of Chandelier is so ungodly awful, but it has 874,000 views.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Oh no.
And some guy's freaking Guitar Hero cover of it has 356,000 views. Like, if you're good enough at being bad, people are going to watch. You know what I mean? Like, and this is such a cliche to hear and to say when it comes to streaming, but if you're being yourself, then you're going to bring people in that are like you. And that's going to build your community and build a more stable community. And if you're lying, if you're putting up a facade for the stream, then people are going to see that. People are going to notice. So, yeah.
It's like when you're having a bad day and you try streaming.
Exactly.
It's like, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Why are you asking?
Oh, yeah, I'm great. I don't know. Don't ignore the puffy eyes. It's fine. I haven't been crying for the last 20 minutes in the shower.
And another good thing about branching out of just doing one thing is that people will start being there for you and not just that one thing that you do.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely, but again, if you're a hobby streamer, do whatever you want, honestly. Try new things. That's the best part about being a hobby streamer is that you could try anything, see what works and what doesn't, and it doesn't matter at the end of the day.
Yeah, and that's something a lot of people... excuse me. A lot of people don't think that, like, well, being a hobby streamer, it's not going to do anything for me. Being a hobby streamer, you could legitimately, like, all it takes is one piece of content to find the right person. Mm-hmm. And then that one right person, it explodes everywhere and everybody else sees it, and then suddenly you're huge. And I'm not saying that, streaming is a get-rich-quick scheme. It's not.
Oh, no.
It's not. Absolutely not. But, if it finds the right people, then your hobby could potentially become your career. And that's one thing I love the most about streaming, is it starts as a hobby, and it's a very, very small percentage. A very small percentage. But that small percentage can make a living off of streaming.
Yep.
And I don't want anybody taking what we're saying as a negative, as a there's no point, so don't bother. That's the thing. The small percentage it's all luck. It's not necessarily luck. There is obviously an element of,
Hard
grind,
work.
dedication. With YouTube, specifically with YouTube and Rumble, there are, there are those built-in algorithms that reward content creators for streaming regularly or for posting regularly. TikTok also pushes out videos for content creators that are posting regularly. Um, so regular creation is obviously important for being found in the algorithm, but that luck element cannot be understated. So, there's always that chance. So, and if you don't go into it expecting to get rich quick, have fun with it. And who knows what could happen.
Yeah, if you've ever thought about streaming, you what do you have to lose?
Yeah, other than a few $100s from the streaming computer.
If you start throwing, bro, $100, bro.
I said a few.
Highly recommend looking into any free alternatives if you're only thinking about streaming.
Yes.
Definitely look for free stuff, even if it's a little janky.
Exhibit A.
Yes.
Use your phone. It has this little thing on the back called a camera.
Yes.
And it connects to Wi-Fi. And guess what you can do with Wi-Fi? See, there's this little thing, okay? Like, there's this button right here. It's the Twitch app. Okay?
Yeah.
And you can click it. And you can stream from the Twitch app. You download the Streamlabs app, stream from that. Like, there are so many. You can do so much. You can make a career. You can make a living just using your phone. And that blows my mind. Like, millennial, born in 89, okay? This shit blows my mind, all right? Like, the fact that you can literally make a living off of your phone nowadays is insane to me. There's
a lot of technology things you can live off of now.
Yeah.
Especially a lot of things have been opened up to, I should say, it's not that it wasn't there, it's that a lot of eyes have been opened.
Yeah.
Lately.
Yep. There with TikTok especially, I think recently, I've Jordan the Stallion is such a great example for this. I don't know if anybody watches this guy on TikTok, but he's like the president of the Fast Food Secrets Club or whatever. That's what he coined himself. Yeah. And he he has gotten so big so quickly. Like, there's literally a new ad on TikTok for State Farm where he's in a State Farm ad.
Wow.
Like, I am so happy for him. Like, he seems like such a genuine dude too. Like, I would hang out with him in a heartbeat. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's from his phone, Okay, so that was a bit of a tangent.
What we're here for.
Yep, exactly. So I do have a question from chat, and we got generally about 20 minutes left in the conversation. I want to kind of go to chat to kind of see like what we have from chat here. This one is from Glitched Gray, who I know from your community. Also, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. When coming up with a model or theme for your channel, what was that process and the reason behind it?
That's a good question.
That is a good question.
That's actually a multi-layer question because there's a bunch of different things that came to fruition. So when I first started, I'll take it back, but I won't take it too long if you don't want.
Go ahead, do what you want to do. I technically have no time limit on this. This is all you.
Just let me know if any other questions come up because I could spend the rest of the time talking about this. All right, so taking it back, way back. So we're talking 2005, somewhere between 2005, 2009. I don't know. When I got the Xbox 360 when it came out and stuff. Yeah.
Good times.
Back then, I used to play on my dad's profile because we had made a profile for me, but because I was like 11 or whatever, it was locked out of playing certain games and stuff or doing certain things. So I played on my dad's, but my dad got annoyed because he's like, "Well, I want to play," and I'm like, "No, I want to play." So eventually, we made a profile. We made a profile over there, and um, we were trying to think of names and stuff. And back in the day, me and my dad used to do spellcasting together. We had this little red book. It was called the Good Spell Book because it only had good things, nothing bad. For the record, I don't do any bad stuff. Um,
Anymore.
what?
What?
And and so it was kind of a mix between me and my dad for my original username, which I still do use, which is where Spelly comes from, which my original username was X Spellcraft X.
Mm-hmm.
The X is obviously because, Xbox
Spellcraft was
days.
taken.
So yeah, Spellcraft was taken. Had to think of what was the next best thing. Either I'm putting numbers in this, or I'm using the edgy edgelord X.
Yep.
And we all know what
Oh
the
yeah.
wanted.
Yep.
Or preteen me. But yeah, so that was my original username. It was with me and my dad, and that's where that came from. Flash forward into actually going into streaming now. So that was my username as when I first started streaming. Now the idea behind the Magic Academy and the witch stuff, it makes sense now if you hear the reason for my name. I wanted to be a magic user because my name comes from the fact that me and my dad used to do spellcasting and stuff. Spellcrafting, I should say. um and the academy part honestly just came from the idea that I wanted a place where people could teach and learn. I was in school at the time. I was going through college when I first started streaming, so it was a place where I felt like I wanted to. If I'm being completely honest, I didn't really want to teach myself. I'm not much of a teacher, but a lot of people did learn from me somehow. I mostly wanted to find a place where we could teach each other, where I could teach stuff if someone learns from it, and other people could teach me stuff, especially. So I
Oh,
set
so
up this whole
you got
idea.
out of the teaching aspect by becoming the headmistress, so you don't have to teach. Okay, I see where you went there. Okay.
That's the best part, right? I no longer. I just observe. I observe. Totally not learning in the process. No, but yeah. That's where the academy part came from. Now, when we go flash forward, I think 2 years into streaming, maybe 2 or 3. I started up the SpellyDoesArt channel, and that had no creative thoughts whatsoever. I literally just took my name, or at least what most people called me at the time was Spelly, and I put does art because what do? I do art. So
Fair
that's where that
enough.
name came from. Right. And then back when I first started the channel, it was also it was just the academy. There was no really distinct thing. It eventually became the clubhouse because I didn't really want at this point, I didn't really want it to be a place. There's 2 reasons. I didn't really want it to be a place where people just teach and just learn. I wanted it to be a place where people hang out more so. And you can still teach and learn in a clubhouse. It's still at the end of the day still part of the academy. But
Hmm.
you can do a lot more in a clubhouse than like a school setting. You can have more fun with it. People are more loose with it. It's not as strict or as whatever. Um the other second half was because I wanted to differentiate my 2 channels. I wanted one to be the academy and one to be the clubhouse so that people knew when you're in this channel, it has this vibe, and when you're in this channel, it has another vibe. Now, granted, that's not to say my gaming channel ever had a school vibe. It didn't. It was just I don't even know. But the point was like the idea was that you knew where you were at the time, whether it was gaming or art, because of the differential or the differentiation, whatever words, between the two. And that's
Hmm.
why I kind of went into the clubhouse aspect of things. And I really do like it. I really do like it. Now it's become a place. It has different rooms where you can do different things. It's not just art. We have a karaoke room, we have an editing room, we have a sculpting room for 3D art. Um, it's become a lot more, and I really like the idea behind it. I still do. I have a whole lore about the academy, about Mia Spellcraft, about all the different characters from the academy that have come throughout the different years. But one of the big things that I don't know if a lot of people put together, but one of the big things about my lore is that Um, I started I should say Spelly, the character now,
Mm-hmm.
started the academy 10 years after she had worked towards building it. So that's 10 years in the making for the academy. When she started it, was oh man, hold on, let me do some really quick math.
Quick maths.
7 years ago. 8 almost? Uh 6? I don't know, whatever math. The point is that from when I started streaming, time passes the same, in that I've been running the academy for the same amount of time that I've been streaming. Yeah, that's
Nice.
all. And that's where
Okay.
that came from.
So, do you? I know this is kind of like out of nowhere, but did you maybe want to give a small tour of the
Tour.
rooms, or would
Oh,
that be too
yeah.
much for the thing?
Um, do you mean, like, physically? Like, show you around? Because I don't know if I can switch that fast, but
Okay, so let's hold off on that. If you want to see
alright.
Spelly's all the rooms in Spelly's clubhouse and at the academy, definitely be sure to go check out her streams. Um, so speaking of that environment, speaking
Mhm.
of Spelly, um, what made you choose VTubing over camera?
I'm gonna be honest, I'm lazy. I'm lazy AF, bro. I'm so lazy. I
Spell
can't tell you how
I
lazy I am.
Okay, you cannot call that lazy. You cannot call that lazy. I
I
have
did
seen you
not.
put more work into
Aw.
your avatar than any person has put into their looks ever.
Yeah, but that's the beauty of it. When you put I okay, at some point, I was, um, working, and when I was, again, I started with school, and then eventually I graduated, and then I started the workforce and stuff. Bro, when I came home after working anywhere 10, 12 hours a day,
Mm-hmm.
not wearing makeup or anything because I don't care. But when you go to stream, you do care because depending on how serious you want to take it, you kind of want to look good. I mean, I personally, I'm not gonna self hate myself. Don't worry. but but anyway,
Better not.
I it would take like at the minimum of an hour just to get ready for streaming. Whether that's makeup, doing hair, changing my clothes, even just straight up taking a full shower so I can reset myself.
Mm-hmm.
Usually I would prefer I'm a night shower person. I know some people are morning shower people, but I'm a night shower person. I prefer to take a shower right before bed so then I can get real cozy and I'm all clean and stuff, right? Um, but there were some times where I took a shower like before streaming, before getting all that stuff ready because I had to completely reset. It took a long time to get ready. Not to say that, making an avatar and everything is an easy feat, but once you have it and stuff, there isn't so much you have to do. Just like little things here and there, unless you want to go for a full like redesign and stuff. As compared to on camera, every single time you want to turn on that camera, unless you don't do anything to get ready, which I'm sure there's some people that don't, but I don't want to get into the whole, looks
I'm
category of
sorry,
things.
I can't relate. I always look good. Yeah, it
I'm so
is what it
happy for
is.
you.
You know, it's genetics.
Yeah, I coulda taken some of those genetics, bro. That would've been nice.
You don't want these.
Oh, no. But yeah, it's just yes, it did come out of laziness. I got tired of constantly getting ready for what? Some days I didn't I was just fine with not wearing makeup, not doing my hair, not anything, and then I would stream for maybe 2, 3 hours at that time. 'Cause again, I was really tired after working for so
Mm-hmm.
long. I would have to do everything. I'd have to, do up my hair, I'd have to do up my makeup, I'd switch from glasses to contacts, I'd have to honestly clean my room because sometimes I just left it a huge mess in the mornings and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all this stuff I had to do just to get ready for 2 to 3 hours of streaming, exhausted, like, tired. I'm tired, bro. I just wanna, like, sleep, you know?
I feel
Now
that.
I don't honestly, now you still have some setup to do, especially depending on how your workflow is. I have my workflow down to a T though. I hit one button on my Stream Deck, everything pops up, everything moves into the screen and the place on the screen I want it to. It took a while to do research to figure out all this stuff, a while to set it all up. But now that it's all set up, I hit one button, I walk away, I usually make breakfast. I come back 5 minutes later, everything is exactly how I want it. And the only thing I have to do from there is make sure my avatar camera and stuff is set up, make sure I have my hands because sometimes I forget them, and hit start, and it's ready because I set all that stuff up, and it took a while, but we got it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, I have one final question for you.
Ooh.
Where do you see your career as an artist in the next 5 years?
Throughout all 5 years, or literally 5 years from today?
5 years from today, where do you see your career as an artist?
Oh man, there's so many different things I can see. So
Let's go through them.
yeah, so the first one that comes straight to mind is working for a studio. Would that be stellar? Absolutely. Although the reason there's so many different futures I can see is because I'm teeter-tottering on the idea of working for like a company or a studio as opposed to working freelance entirely. Um I I don't know. So let's just break it down. If I'm working for a studio, great. Probably have at least a little bit more steady income rather than whatever I have now.
Yeah.
And even, for the record,
Relatable.
even working in a studio, it's still not very steady. You still you still don't know.
Very
But
fast paced, very tight budgets. Yeah.
Right. But it's still at least a little bit better than doing everything yourself.
Right.
Like you don't have to market yourself. You don't have to deal with clients for the most part, unless that's literally your job is like, what is it, sales, market, whatever.
Client
You
relations.
just something like that. You just have to do what they tell you to do, honestly. It does also get harder working with others compared to working by yourself because usually in a studio you only have a piece of the cog a cog in the machine, a piece of the puzzle that you don't normally start it unless you're one of the script writers or a storyboarder or however they plan to start it. And you normally don't end it either unless you're one of those people that end it, but normally you're in the middle and you receive something, you do what you got to do, you send it out to the next person, right? When you do it freelance, you do everything yourself unless you yourself are marketing out or whatever the word is. My brain is you're doing everything. You're doing the storyboarding, you're doing the sketches, you're doing the backgrounds, you're doing the lining and coloring and for the record, I don't think I mentioned it, but I'm an animator. I do art and animation, so I'm actually speaking about animation, but
yes,
but
I don't think we actually mentioned that. You have kind of branched from just general 2D art to actual animation. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. That's 5 years from now, I see myself still doing animation, but whether that's freelance or with a studio, I don't know. I don't know what I would like. It's definitely something to sit down and talk about at some point with myself. Right. Very much. If I were to be freelance 5 years from now, I don't really see myself being very, very much different than now. It just honestly depends on a lot of the things we talked about earlier. It depends on how much work I'm willing to put into it, how lucky I get with clients and stuff, to see how much, not only that I grow, but to see how visible I become. Because am I going to be working for, because there's another thing with studios. You don't have to work for a studio to work with a studio. They hire freelance all the time. There's a chance maybe 5 years from now this is a goal of mine, but maybe 5 years from now, you might see me in the credits of an anime or something where I'm not working for the studio, but they hired me as a freelance just to do like some quick stuffs for them and stuff. Like, would that be amazing?
I would lose my crap. I would absolutely
you'll be the first
lose
to know,
my
man,
crap.
there.
I'd be like, let's go!
Yeah. Like I'm excited right now. Even right now, I have like this project. I can't talk too much about it, but I'm hella excited for when it finally drops and I can finally talk about it. Or I can finally talk about my stuff. Oh man, that's another big thing is NDA work is like, I love it. Don't get me wrong. I love surprising people, but sometimes I'm like, man, I just really want to tell people now. But no. I gotta wait. But yeah, that is a goal.
I have a relevant question from the chat. Normally I wouldn't take this immediately, but since we are getting close to the end of the conversation, it was immediately relevant. Would you sign it? Would you sign a physical copy if your name came up in the credits? For somebody, if somebody like gave you something to sign and your name was in the credits, would you sign it?
They want my signature? I mean, it kind of depends on who, because I don't want my name winding up in like some death note or like giving my signature away. But if it's someone that I know, like if it's someone that I know well enough, yeah, I have no issue signing. Although I don't. Again, when you start working for bigger companies and stuff, it's like you become a cog in the machine. It's not really like, I don't know. If you want my signature, by all means, I have no reason not to give it to you unless it's someone I don't know. But but you know, it's like I did a small portion. There's no way I'm working on like that whole thing by myself. So it's but yeah, I mean, sure, why not?
Thank you, Dynamite, for the question. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, Dynamite, I would probably sign some for him. You know what I'll sign for you? I'll sign your hat.
Hey.
No, I'm kidding. I don't want to mess it up. It's a very nice hat.
Now, I know your commissions are closed at the moment, with you being a busy bee.
Oh.
However, would you be opposed to me sharing your card in chat?
Would you want my card or my commission? Because I switched over my commissions website. Here, I'll send you both of them if you want to take a look. Probably my card would be better, but this is my. But it also has my old prices. I haven't updated it.
Well, there's the card link, everybody, for those of you that want it. And here is the commissions link for those of you that may want it. There we go.
It's posted in both Kick and the Twitch
chat.
There might be a bit of not. I don't want anyone to think that I'm charging this amount when it's actually this amount, because my card, I need to update my card, but I also don't really use my card too much. But it does have a lot more information on it.
And you know, that's excuse me, goodness. That's another thing. Like, if you are going to be commissioning artists, prices are not going to be concrete based on what they post on their sites. You know, obviously the prices artists posts are typically introductory prices. If there's any changes or if there's any sort of specialization you want done to your work, that is going to adjust the price as the artist sees fit. So keep that in mind.
Yep.
Speaking of art that Spelly has done, I've hidden something from you, chat.
Oh, yes.
I have hidden something on stream in plain sight.
Oh, man.
Has anybody noticed this t-shirt that I am wearing today? This is my favorite piece of Spelly art. Because she drew it because I asked her to.
Yes, literally. Can you draw this for me? Sure.
Spelly, how about Viking Corgi? Also, put it on a shirt. And then she did.
Wasn't that when I was just on stream and I was like, I don't know what to draw? And
then
you're like, Viking Corgi, and I was like, I mean, okay. So honestly, I didn't expect that to go anywhere other than here's a little sketch of a Viking Corgi.
And it's so good. I love it so much.
Oh, man. Good times.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, Spelly.
Yeah,
I want to say thank you very much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. I know you've been extremely busy with the commissions you've been working on lately. And so thank you so much for taking the time out of that to come and join us today. You know, if you ever want to come back on the show, you're more than welcome to. The invite is always open. Just say, hey, Zach, I have a free Monday evening open. Do you want to chat? I mean, let's go.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
And
let's go.
Thank you, everybody in the chat that has been hanging out. You guys have been great. Actually got some questions in today, which was really nice. For those of you watching on YouTube, definitely be sure to leave a like and subscribe as well. Thank you very much. And definitely leave a comment down below which content creator you'd like to have on the show and who you would like me to speak with. Again, it's open to everybody. I don't want just gaming streamers. I don't want just art streamers. I want woodworkers. I want TikTok creators. I want, people that go around Japan and like show the differences between the US and Japan, stuff like that. Like, if you create content, I want to talk to you. So reach out. DMs are open. Business email, manbearzach@gmail.com. And we look forward to having everybody on at some point. So thank you very much, everybody. Spelly, do you have any last words for everybody? Perfect.
Yeah, that's basically what you get out of me.
Yep. Everybody go follow Spelly on all of her socials. SpellyDoesArt on X, on hate that. X, formerly Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and if you want to catch her random gaming streams, SpellcraftX on Twitch. Definitely be sure to check her out on YouTube as well. It's not something that she asked me to shout out, but every now and again she posts some covers here and there that are actually, she has a wonderful singing voice. So definitely check her out on there. And if you want some artwork done, the links were posted in chat earlier. Definitely be sure to commission her. And Spelly,
Manbear,
have a wonderful evening, my friend.
Aw, I hope you do too. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Good night, everybody. Take care. Yeah.